good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is really my pleasure to welcome each one of you to this celebration of our 62nd year of the foundation of the National Council of Educational Research and Training. To commemorate this day, we have here on the dais esteemed personalities, dignitaries, who are part of this celebration. And sir, I'm very grateful for the effort, for your concern, to take your time out and to be with us in this celebration. We also appreciate Madam Meena Karkongor, the chairperson of the Commission on Child Rights and Child Protection. Thank you so much, ma'am. Within a very short time, you have accepted our invitation, and this shows that the love that you have for the education, especially when it comes to school education and teacher education. We have also in our midst principals of schools, representatives of some of the schools where we do our internship programs, be it here in the neighborhood or be it there from Shillong. We welcome each one of you. We also welcome the resource persons of a program which is going on right now. Thank you so much for being here with us. And yes, not forgetting the faculty, not forgetting the non-teaching staff, the students, and to everyone who is here to mark this occasion. When we think about a foundation day, there are two things that we need to consider. The first is the past, okay? And as we think of the 62 years which NCERT has completed, the many, many milestones, okay? We also remember the difficulties, we remember the challenges, and also we remember the achievements. And for this, we are very grateful to all the former directors, the former joint directors, the retired faculty members, the retired non-teaching staff who toiled tirelessly to give NCERT a strong foundation. NCERT, it has evolved from one level to another level. And the good thing is that we are still evolving. We are still evolving, and we are still like trying to be the change bearers, to bring in quality education when it comes to school education and when it comes to teacher education. So therefore, at this time, we remember our present director, Professor Dinesh Prasad Saklani. We remember our joint director there in Delhi, Professor S. Srivastava, the other joint directors of the different units. We remember the heads of the departments, and yes, we also remember all the faculty members working in the different RIEs across the country, working for achieving the objectives for which NCERT stands for. And as we think about this Foundation Day, my dear faculty, my dear non-teaching staff, and the students, let us also have with this that we look ahead. What is our vision? What is our goal? What is our commitment? So therefore, this is the day that we should also rededicate ourselves to be the better person, to be the better worker, to give our 100% and more. I know this is what we have been doing, but let this day inspire each one of us with a new commitment, a new zeal to work more for the council. And as we do this, we will be able to reach out more and more to the 26 crore students, as mentioned in the official website, to the 50 lakh schools, to the 79 school teachers all across the country. May therefore this day inspire each one of us to move ahead, no matter what the challenges, no matter what the problems, but we will all rise above this and achieve our goal and our objective. Now, so therefore with these few words, again, I take this opportunity to welcome each one of you to this joyous day, and may it be a day with a difference, and I wish and greet each one of you a happy Foundation Day. Thank you.
Respected chairperson of this session, Principal NERIE Shillong, Madam F.G. Dakhar, respected chief guest of this celebration, Professor D.P. Goyal, Director IIM Shillong, and also Madam Goyal, esteemed guest of honor, Madam Meena Karkongar, former chairperson SCPCR Meghalaya, all the invitees, respected heads of internship schools, esteemed colleagues, both teaching and non-teaching, dear students of NERIE, and also DCGC participants and participants of some other programs. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to wish you a very happy 62nd Foundation Day of NCERT. So I have been assigned 15 minutes time to speak on NCERT, and it is a gigantic task to speak from the beginning to end about NCERT. Let me start with like this historical retrospect. Actually, NCERT is a registered organization under Society Registration Act on June 6, 1961. There are 3 dates, important dates about establishment of NCERT. Then it was announced by Ministry of Education, Government of India on 27 July 1961 as an apex national body for in school education. And this day, 61 years back, rather 62 years back, on September 1st, 1961, it was formally started its activity. Therefore, we celebrate this day every year as Foundation Day of NCERT. Different RIs were established in different dates, and we also separately celebrate the foundation days of different constituents. And in a single word, the broad agenda of the establishing NCERT is to build a national system of education. As you all know, India is a country with diversity in terms of language, in terms of religion, caste, creed, and all that. So, in order to maintain the national integration, unity and integrity of the country, we need to have a national system of education which has been told in different national education policies. Then coming to how it came into existence. Prior to establishment of NCERT, there were 7 different national institutions which were working on different aspects of school education. The list is there. Central Institute of Education, which was created in 1947, just after independence, and all these institutions like Central Bureau of Textbook Research, 1954, the Central Bureau of Education and Vocational Guidance, 1954 again, Director of Extension Program for Secondary Education, 1958, National Institute of Basic Education, 1956, National Fundamental Education Center, 1956, and National Institute of Audiovisual Education, 1959. So, all these, the activities of all these 7 organizations were merged into the activities of NCERT. Then coming to the major objectives of NCERT is like to undertake, promote and coordinate research in the related to school education. Obviously, school education, because when we read National Council of Educational Research, so research is the top priority of NCERT in the area of school education and teacher education. Then publish model textbooks that our chief guest in discussion in the principal's room, he was telling about NCERT textbook, appreciating NCERT textbook, and till today the civil service aspirants and other aspirants in competitive examination, they follow NCERT textbooks, quality textbooks. Then organize pre-service and in-service training programs. You know, pre-service teacher education programs are being conducted in 5 regional institutes of education. I will be coming to that. And also many in-service training programs are conducted for the teachers, teacher educators. And develop, disseminate innovative educational techniques and practices. Time to time, NCERT brings about lots of innovations in the field of teaching, learning and assessment. So these are also disseminated, practiced or experimented. Like another thing is to collaborate, network with state education departments, universities, NGOs and other educational institutions. Because you know, all the states and union territories have been divided and assigned to different regional institutes of education, and we try to provide support to them and act as a clearinghouse for ideas and information in the matters related to school education. As the highest advisory body in the matter of school education of the Ministry of Education, NCERT, for any issue that arises, that our Ministry of Education takes the assistance. And last one is to act as a nodal agency for achieving the goal of quality education. Improving the quality of education, school education is the another goal. So these are the major objectives. There may be also, if we go to detail, there are other objectives. Then coming to the organizational structure of NCERT, there are 2 important bodies. One is general body. The president is our Minister School Education and Government of India. And there is an executive body that is also Union Minister of Education, is the president, ex officio president. Whoever becomes the Minister of Education, he becomes the chairperson. Presently, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan is the chairperson, and there is a Minister of State also, he is the ex officio vice chairperson. This executive body is, there are many members in these committees, like in general body, all the ministers of education of states and secretaries, many NGOs and heads of different organizations, national organizations like UGC, CBSE, NCT and so on. And also there are also many members of executive committee like UGC chairperson, NCT chairperson, CBSE chairperson, and also some ministers of education, state ministers of education, and some educationists also, eminent educationists, and also obviously the director NCERT, joint director NCERT, and the secretary NCERT, and the convener is the secretary NCERT, executive body. This executive body is assisted by 10 different committees, like you have a finance committee, establishment committee, then building and works committee, program advisory committee, and also for any different departments, educational research and innovation committee, or that is called ERIC, and academic committee of NI. For all the departments there are academic committee. That includes the members of the department or division, and also some external resource persons, educationists. And also advisory board of Central Institute of Educational Technology. All the constituents of NCERT like CIT, CIV, they have their advisory boards, and all the RIs have management committee. We have management committee with the vice chancellor of affiliating university as the chairperson, and also advisory body of each departments. These are called PABs, as you say, of National Institute of Education. In NCERT there are so many departments, and each department have their advisory body. So these are the bodies that assist executive committee. Then these are the 8 constituents of NCERT. Actually NCERT, there is nothing like NCERT, no institute. You can say Delhi, in Delhi there is NCERT, no. NCERT is an umbrella term. Under that there are 8 constituents. You see, the first National Institute of Education, NIE, which sometimes you feel that is NCERT, and Central Institute of Educational Technology, they are stationed at New Delhi in the same campus, and Pandit Sundarlal Sharma Central Institute of Vocational Education, and in serial number 5, Regional Institute of Education Bhopal, they are also stationed in one campus, that is Bhopal, and Regional Institute of Education RI Ajmer for northern region, Bhopal for western region, then RI Bhubaneswar for eastern region, and RI Mysore for southern region, and this Northeast Regional Institute of Education, where you are here now, it is here at Shillong. So coming to the development of education policies and curriculum frameworks, let me tell you about the important activities of NCERT. It normally helps or supports Government of India in the Ministry of Education in the formulation of national education policies. So far we have seen 3 policies, particularly on the aspects of school education. NCERT plays the key role, and 3 national education policies independent India has seen, 1968, 1986, and national policy and education policy 2020. You please mark, 2 policies are called national policy on education, but latest one is national education policy. It is not wrong typing. That is, this is the nomenclature. 3 NEP, these are called NP. And so far 4 curriculum framework has been prepared. You see, like the curriculum for 10-year school, a framework 1975, then which was revised in the year 1988, national curriculum for elementary and secondary education for 12 years and national curriculum framework for school education in the year 2000 and national curriculum framework latest was the 2005 and 4 curriculum frameworks are upcoming and after the recommendations of National Education Policy 2020, these are the upcoming curriculum frameworks as per NEP 2020, that is NCF, NCF National Curriculum for School Education, for preschool education, for adult education, and the fourth one is for teacher education, which will be done in collaboration with NCT. Independently 3 and 1 in collaboration with NCT. So this is another important activity. Then coming to NCERT textbooks, which I was telling that prepares textbooks for 12 years of school education, classes 1 to 12, and mostly based on the national policies on education. And these textbooks are adopted by more than 20 states. In fact, it will be more than 25 states and union territories, fully or partly. Some states have fully adopted the NCERT textbooks and some states have partly adopted NCERT textbooks. For example, like the state of Madhya Pradesh, they have only science and mathematics textbook for class 9 onwards, like that. Then it is adopted by all schools under Ministry of Education, like Kendriya Vidyalayas, Navodaya Vidyalayas, Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas, and Sainik schools. They adopt, they are bound to, mandatory to adopt NCERT textbooks, and as I have already said, NCERT textbooks are referred by aspirants of civil servants and state education services. Then coming to the another activity is teacher education programs, mostly in-service teacher education programs run in regional institutes of education, 4-year integrated BA, BSc, B.Ed. You see, this 4-year integrated program, which now 2 years back only the country adopted, NCERT through its regional institute of education has been implementing 60 years back, starting from educational Bachelor of Educational Technology and like Bachelor of Arts in Education and Bachelor of Science and B.Ed. Then 2-year B.Ed. 2-year B.Ed also adopted only after 2014, in 2015 by country, but it was an innovative program of NCERT through RIs since more than 20 years back. So these two programs like BA, B.Ed, BSc, B.Ed, 4-year and 2-year B.Ed programs, they were innovative programs of NCERT, but now they are no more innovative. With the successful experiment of NCERT, now the entire country has adopted. Then MSc Ed program, that is only in RI Mysuru. Previously MSc Ed program was there in Bhubaneswar, but now that is not there. So this is also an innovative program. Then 3-year integrated B.Ed M.Ed. This program is only in RI Bhopal. 2 years back we have started. And diploma course in guidance and counseling, that is in blended mode. It is a kind of extension program, and you are the students here. That is run in all the regional institute of education, plus at NI New Delhi. And we have in some RIs, except this, some RIs have MPhil education program and also PhD education programs. The older regional institute of education are the center for PhD or doctoral degree research. Then these are the areas in which in-service training programs are conducted. Major areas only, in different curricular subjects like science, mathematics, art education, health education, physical education, both in content and pedagogy. Then use of curricular resources including textbooks, because the states that follow NCERT textbooks, RIs or NI officials, they orient them, and evaluation and student evaluation and assessment, curriculum development and analysis, educational technology, vocational education, research methodologies, inclusive education, gender issues, policy issues like RT Act and National Education Policy, use of NCERT textbook as already said, and planning and monitoring. So these are the broad areas under which we conduct in-service training programs for teachers and teacher educators and faculties of SCRTs. Then these are the some major extension activities that we conduct also, like diploma course in guidance and counseling is also an extension program to create guidance and counselors at different states. Then we prepare also guidelines, many guidelines, particularly for digital learning, Rashtriya Aviskar Abhijan, and in all guidelines relating to school education that we bring. Then exhibition and festivals, like we organize Kala Utsav, ICT Mela, Yoga Olympiad, role play, folk dance, toy festivals. These festivals are organized at different constituents of Regional Institute of Education and NI, also CIET and CIV. Then seminars and conferences, national, international seminars and conferences, in-service training for teachers, support to states in training, research and development activities. We go to different states, have meeting and collect the needs of the states to provide support in all these three areas. Then support to national bodies like NCT for the preparation of national curriculum framework for teacher education, and also to CBSE, and support to other countries I will be telling later. Then coming to international relation, we have MOU with 6 different countries. For example, Republic of South Korea, that is on vocational education and curriculum, and one vocational education program is in implementation in RI Bhopal. Then Mauritius, educational technology, curriculum development, inclusive education, quality of school education. Then Australia with educational technology and curriculum development. With Taiwan, educational technology. And our CIET has developed some portal for Taiwan. We have provided support to them. In curriculum, we have provided support to South Korea, because NCERT is the largest body in the school education, largest in the world. Therefore, many our curriculum development process is very systematic and logical. Therefore, many countries come to learn from NCERT how the curriculum development process is handled in a big country like India. So then with USA on reading, and with Finland on school leadership and inclusive education. Then initiatives taken during COVID, that was a landmark initiative that we did when many institutions, they were sleeping. Then NCERT was fully active during COVID period in developing alternative academic calendar, because many schools were closed. We did that, all the regional institute of education all together. Then Pragyata guideline on digital education, because digital education was new to many educational institutions. So NCERT developed guideline that is called Pragyata guideline, guideline for children of migrant laborers. They were most affected during COVID. And also out of school children, guidelines for school reopening on learning with social distancing. Then learning enhancement guideline. Then Manodarpan, as you know, our DCGC counselors are there across the country, and this toll-free number was used that time, and our DCGC students, they were consulted by the students and parents regarding education, and our DCGC students, previous students, they have contributed a lot during this period. And Sahyog program, that is also done to address to the socio-emotional and psychological needs of students. All the regional institute of education, rather all the constituents of NCERT, they conduct programs. There are two speakers, they discuss some question answer, one technical person and one person from NCERT. It's a question answer program on socio-emotional development or aspects of students. Then Diksha, in Diksha platform, online NISTA was conducted, because NISTA was initiated in 2018 with the goal of orienting 42 lakh teachers of the country, 42 lakh teachers of the country. But on the way, after 22 lakh we completed, that was the largest teacher training program of the world's largest teacher training program, NISTA, that is National Initiatives for School Heads and Teachers Holistic Advancement. And during COVID period, we started NISTA online. NISTA 1.0, NISTA 2.0 for secondary education, and NISTA 3.0 online. So then PM E-Vidya, you know, is a Swayam Prabha, under the bucket of Swayam Prabha TV channel, one class, one channel. And during that period also, our NCERT members, they did hard work on developing e-contents, because for every class there was one channel, and students who were listening to their contents at their home. So I think that was the very hard work of NCERT. So these are some of the initiatives, landmark initiatives appreciated by India, in India and abroad, for in education, school education sector. Then current areas of concern, you see, we have, just I came to an end, this is the last slide. That is, what is our areas of concern? Where do we stand now? We stand like bringing out national curriculum framework for school education, preschool education, adult education, and teacher education in collaboration with the NCT. The last one in collaboration with the NCT, and third, 3 curriculum framework independently by NCERT. This is the latest challenge, and bringing out syllabi for different stages of school education. After curriculum framework will come out, then we will prepare syllabus or syllabi for different stages. And the third challenge is bringing out textbooks for different stages of school education. You see, we have a chronology like this: first, national pollution education, then on the basis of that, we develop national curriculum frameworks. On the basis of that, we follow syllabi or syllabus, and then we follow, these are the 4 steps, important steps. Then last one is bringing out textbooks. Now many parents are urging, rather demanding, why NCERT is not preparing textbook. NCA, new education policy came. But unless curriculum framework comes, then syllabus is prepared, then only we will bring out textbooks for school education from classes 1 to 12. So this is in brief about the journey of NCERT, and starting from its establishment, ending with the things that we are currently focusing on. With this, once again, I thank all the guests, students, teachers, faculty members, and invitees present here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson of this program today, Professor Bala Dakhar, as we know. I express my gratitude to you, ma'am, for the invitation extended to me, and the in-charge principal, Dr. F.G. Dakhar, who is a very well-known person to me. She was also a member in my first term when I was the chairperson of the Child Rights Commission, and we had a good time, ma'am, working with you. I still remember those days when we made fun and we laughed, and we also lamented over the conditions of our children in the state. And I'm also thankful to all the faculty members, the officials of NERIE, both people, then the students of B.Ed, and the lovely song that was presented to us today, to be a part of your 62nd Foundation Day celebration. I also acknowledge the presence of our esteemed chief guest, Professor Goyal, who is the director of IIM, Mrs. Goyal, present here with us, and who has graced this occasion today. Dr. Pradhan, who has elaborately given us the presentation on the framework of NCERT. We are all aware that NCERT is an organization which has been set up to assist the qualitative improvement in school education in India, with the aim of building a common education system. NCERT owns the responsibility of developing and publishing the NCERT textbooks. It also develops educational kits and multimedia digital materials like Professor Pradhan has just mentioned now, and also multimedia digital materials to help students in their studies. Most of the state boards now, like the CBSE, ICSE boards, are following the NCERT official textbooks for classes from 1 to 12, as I have come to learn, in their school curriculums. As a premier national organization, it is committed towards promoting excellence, equity, inclusiveness, and quality in school education. In our state, the state of Meghalaya, we still follow the MBOS curriculum, or the syllabus of the MBOS, which I believe personally has to adapt to the NCERT guidelines, which will cater to the all-round development of students pursuing higher studies once they reach the higher secondary level, which is followed all across the nation. When we speak about the National Education Policy of 2020, this also ensures inclusiveness and equitable quality education, which promotes lifelong learning opportunities for all. A little bit on the role of the chairperson when I was heading the Child Rights Commission. You know, when in the Child Rights Commission, we had a responsibility also towards seeing the rights of children with regard to the right of education. So, you know, we used to travel far and wide across the state of Meghalaya, visiting different kinds of schools. Especially our focus was on the government schools. And, you know, like sadly to say, we found so much of discrepancies in the government-run schools, especially in the rural areas. The facilities were never there. I think Madam will also know about the schools here that we are having. We don't have the infrastructure where from time to time, you know, we have put up many recommendations to the government to improve the infrastructure, the facilities of the preliminary schools. But I think now the government is trying the level best to come up with different innovative ideas and shelling out money for the improvement of our primary level schools. And the teachers' trainings also are being conducted. And I believe NERIE, in collaboration with the DRT of Meghalaya, are trying the level best to improve the quality of education given to our children. You know, when we talk about education in our state, especially in the rural areas, we have found that most of the children drop out in the early stages of their education because of the lack of these infrastructures, lack of facilities, lack of the toilet facilities. You won't believe I had been to a co-educational school in the heart of the city, a government school, where the girls were not having a proper toilet. You know, when I asked the girls why are they dropping out from school or why they are absenting themselves from school, their word was, "Ma'am, we don't have a proper toilet." So, you know, these are the discrepancies that we are still having and still lacking in our state. So I urge upon the authorities, the government officials of the government of Meghalaya to look into these matters, because ultimately education is the lifelong tool that we say which shapes our children's, their future, how they go forward. You know, we lack civil servants from our state, sorry to say. Why? Because the education system of ours does not cater for them to later on take up such huge steps like in mainland India or elsewhere, where, you know, children have adapted themselves to such a curriculum and syllabus right from the preliminary stages that they do not find a problem when they adapt themselves to a higher level, isn't it? But in our state, we find that is lacking because we do not adapt. So in my opinion, as a former chairperson, you know, I feel that even the embossed curriculum should come up and follow the NCERT guidelines so that we get better students, they get better opportunities in life. And it is so sad, you know, to read in the newspapers in a recent time that Meghalaya has come down in the rank of literacy rate, isn't it? It's a shame, because why? We have been known earlier as the educational hub of the country, but with recent changes, our state has really come down. So it is high time that we realize we are here to support our children for the future generations, for the opportunities that they get to go into different fields, into different lines. And that should be the goal of our state, to lift up the education system, to lift up the vocational trainings, the SSA schools, the midday meals. These are all to be strengthened in order to lift the education system of our state. So having said that, I think most of the people will not like it, but I have to be blunt with what I find, you know. So, you know, with the quickly changing employment landscape and the global ecosystem, it is becoming increasingly critical that children not only learn, but more importantly, learn how to learn. That is a very, you know, important thing. So education must move towards less content. We should keep less content and more towards learning about how to think critically and solve problems, how to be creative, multidisciplinary, and how to adapt and observe new materials. Education must build character, enable learners to be ethical, rational, compassionate, and caring, while at the same time prepare them for gainful, fulfilling employment, like I have earlier spoken. Therefore, in conclusion, I express my gratitude to NERIE for undertaking research and providing materials and kits for the teachers' training, etc., in the state of Meghalaya. It is time now that all schools must follow one national policy in the school curriculum and syllabus to enable students to fare better. The gap between the current state of learning outcomes and what is required must be bridged through undertaking major reforms that brings the highest quality, equity, and integrity into the system of learning and teaching. So it is a well-known fact that NERIE, in collaboration with the DRT of our state, is providing guidelines and trying their best to uplift the studies and the lives of our children. Thank you so much for all your efforts, ma'am, and all the faculty members. So I would like to end here, because our chief guest, the eminent scholar will be speaking much more than what I know. In my small little area, I have spoken what I felt was very necessary for the day. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Principal, Professor F.G. Dakhar, Honorable Madam Meena Khagonkar, former Chairperson SCP-CR Meghalaya, Professor Pradhan ji from NCERT, Madam B. Kharlukhi on the dais, my other colleagues, Dr. Prachi from IM campus, I would say IM Shillong campus, because she is staying with us as a we can say family member. And my other colleagues, invited principals of other schools, other colleges, and other institutions. Dear students, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning and wish you 62nd Foundation Day of NCERT. I'm really feeling honored and privileged to be amongst you this morning. And I'm grateful to the organizers for inviting me, for giving this opportunity to be with you. In fact, I'm so grateful to Professor Dakhar, Professor Pradhanji, and Madam, because I was thinking that after these speeches, now what to speak. But at the same time, they have made my life simpler and easier, because now I can simply just review or maybe just say a summary of what all of them have just spoken here. As far as NCERT is concerned, we all know Professor Pradhan has given us such a elaborative brief about NCERT. NCERT, as we all know, is a huge, huge brand India has created, because it's a think tank, not only for the central government, rather for all the states. Because based on the inputs from the NCERT, they would modify, they would devise, or they would come out with whatever changes are required in the policies, especially for the school education. So just look at the role of NCERT. It is a think tank for the entire country, that how we need to shape our next generation, that is our children. So it's a huge, huge responsibility, and they have been playing for last now 61 years, because this is the 62nd Foundation Day we are celebrating. So once they have decided that we are the think tank, then what is required to be done? Just look at the name of NCERT. It is National Council. It is for the entire country. It is National Council of Educational Research and Training. Means, in order to give advice, in order to become a think tank, we need to research. We need to find out what is happening and what is required to be done. What are the gaps? It is just not in the country, rather internationally. What is happening in the European country, what is happening in American, what is happening in the Japanese countries, and so on and so forth. Only then I think that we can see that what is required for a country like India, because I'm not saying that we need to copy whatever is being done and we just take the best practices, whatever is being done in other countries. No. Because as we all know that all the world, they used to look up to the India. Because as the universities we know, like Nalanda, Takshila, where people from all over the world, they used to come for learning, for training. So it is rather the India that where we say India knowledge management or India management education or knowledge which India is having. Probably if we just look at our ancient history, then we know that how important the education system has been in a country like us, that is India. Because we used to follow Shishya Guru Parampara. And as far as Guru is concerned, this is all, I think so many Gurus are sitting here today, or they are in the making. All the B.Ed students today, they are just only maybe a few steps away when they would also become the Gurus. But we know that Guru is again a huge, huge responsibility. Just joining a school, I don't think that we become Guru. Rather, it is a hard-earned title that we need to earn it. Because if we just look at that, it is a school that when a child is only just 3 years or 2 years even, preschool, they are going to the schools, or our parents, they just hand over the child to these teachers. Huge responsibility. Just look at the most important member of a family, the son or daughter of a mother, is just handed over, and it is not for 1 hour or 2 hours. Sometimes it is for many hours in a day. Just look at the responsibility and the trust of the parents which is given to these gurus. And then they form the foundation that what is to be done, what not to be done. It is just not only ABC, it is just not only 1, 2, 3, which is taught in the schools. Rather, character building, which is really very, very important. The values, the ethical character is taught by all these gurus who are sitting here. And this is what I think that huge responsibility, as far as Indian education system is concerned, probably nobody can beat our system. So this is what, as far as NCERT role, I was just looking at that how important this role is. They are the think tank, they are to intervene in the policies, and they would advise that how the new policy should be there, because these are the children, not for today, this is the next generation. And human beings, what we are trying to say, that we need to build just not only some academicians or some professors or some, doctors or whatever, no by titles, rather it is the next generation to whom we are looking at, that yes, this is how the transformation is going to happen in a country like India. So now, once they have done some research, now it is just not to keep it in the books. So NCERT, again, the next letter is a training that they need to disseminate. Dissemination by having training programs or by having books. Professor Pradhan was mentioning about, yes, I have been a witness to. I have been a privy to that how important or how quality books the NCERT is producing. Because anywhere, if you really want to have a clear conceptual understanding, then anybody and everybody would like to say or refer NCERT books. Even sometimes author may not be there because publisher is not there. Everybody knows NCERT publication. I think that that is, again, a huge, huge reputation which they've earned over a period of this 61 years of their journey. So, and then another important aspect Pradhanji was highlighting, that NCERT, again, is now trying to integrate the entire country. Also, they are taking our faculty, our students to the other countries so that understand the culture of others as well also of different states of India. So again, I think it's a very important function the NCERT is having. So just look at the NCERT role. It is just not only a one body or institution. I think that it is multiple institutions. And just look at the scope, more than 25 lakh students' life is being impacted by this body. And then having constituent colleges, like, as we know that, Institute of Education in Shillong. Again, I understand, when I just entered in this institute, I was amazed to see the positive vibes, the energy, the simplicity, whatever it is, it looks so grand. So I think that, again, I was just thinking about that probably it is my regret. I should have been also a part of this family. But looking at the higher umbrella, Ministry of Education, as you know, is having two parts, or two departments, we would say. One is school education literacy, another is higher education. So I am a part of the same family because we have just divided for the sake of convenience. That is school education literacy, this is higher education. But otherwise, if we just look at, it is one larger family, and we're all part of. But the school education literacy department, probably people, they're more luckier because they are to impact the people at the foundation stage. And it is for a longer duration, 15 years. The children is in the school. And it is only after spending so many years, they will come to the higher education colleges or like institutes like IIM or us. It is only for 2 years, maximum 3 years. So what we can do and what is our contribution as far as foundation, or we can say the character building is concerned, because foundation is already laid. And whatever attitudes are formed, it really becomes difficult for the colleges or for the institutes to change those attitudes. It becomes a big challenge sometimes. So that is the reason why school education is really so critical, it's so important, and the role you are playing, that is why the guru's role, and you are the real gurus. I was just mentioning that sometimes child, if you just tell, beta aisa hota hai, he or she may say, no, 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 because my ma'am says like this. So she would believe more of the ma'am, to the ma'am, not the parents. Just look at, it means what? That you have earned that reputation. You have earned that respect. It is not that you are a teacher, because you have earned that. And this is, again, the many times I have my fond memories of my school days, that many teachers, they have really shaped the character, the ethical values, and also the total perspectives of life. That how happy you should be. It is just not by earning a livelihood. Rather, happiness probably is something else. That you need to be contented person, and you need to be compassionate person. You must know the humanity. At the end of the day, you should be a human being. So this is, again, I think very, very important. But if we just look at these days, that over a period of time, there have been certain changes which are happening. And I think that as a teachers, we need to understand those changes, and then maybe that we can reorient our roles accordingly. Because once we understand that we are the shapers, or we are the next generation's builders, or we ultimately builders of the nation. So once we are builders of the nation, we need to understand that these days, lot many changes are happening around us. One disruption, like for example, IT, internet. And you just see that how many top companies, a few years back, the top companies, these are no more there. Because they could not survive the innovation, they could not see that this is the future. Just like Netflix, just like so many changes, like Nokia, for example. Everybody was thinking Nokia is the only company, and without Nokia, probably we could not think of. So just look at the changes. So that is why that these are very, very important, that as a teacher, we need to look ahead. And that is the vision, that we need to prepare our children, our next generation, accordingly. So information technology, as we were mentioning, as the speakers were mentioning, that it is just not artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, or the metaverse these days, which has become so important. And all the next, that it is not just what to learn which is important, but ma'am was also mentioning that what is most important is how to learn. Because learning should be an experience for our children, our students. It is not just the content, rather the pedagogy, which is really important. And this is the content and pedagogy, that is what to learn and how to learn. And I think that this would just change the entire perspective once we look into that IT is going to really transform the entire world. And we need to now equip our children, as you might have seen, that today, 2-year kid, even when he's not very fluent in speaking, he knows that how to start laptop, how to start iPad, how to get into some other plays or some films or whatever. Just look at. I think that this is, again, very, very important for us, that this is the transformation, and this transformation is happening at such a fast rate. We need to understand that. And then another important perspective, that is our planet, our sustainability, which we are talking about. And that is what the SDG Goal 4 of the world level landscape of education, which we are talking about. And probably that is the reason that why National Education Policy 2020 is so important, that we are trying to, whatever ma'am was talking about, probably NEP 2020 has taken care of all those things. That today, learning should not be just by rotting. When we say, like normally in the past, anywhere you go anywhere, then the first day we just teach the student, beta, A stands for everywhere, you go everywhere, it will say A stands for apple, B stands for boy, C stands for, and so. You go anywhere. Means what? We don't give much options, but many options to our children. but rather creativity, innovation is the game today. Students, as ma'am was also saying, less content, but we need to just tell the student that how to learn, because we are preparing the child for the future. It is not for tomorrow or for the industry or for just learning. It's a life learning. It's a lifelong learning. That is really very, very important for us. And NAP 2020 is, I think, that is a very welcome step from the government of India, which happened after 34 years, rather 36 years, because earlier it was 86. So just look at that. And then it is very aspirational. And it talks about that changes which must be there, and now we are in the implementation stage. I think, again, bodies like NCERT or institute like Education Institute, IE, that it again is a huge, huge responsibility, implementation of NEP 2020. Because otherwise, there could be many challenges, and we have been talking, or we would just remain talking, until unless we again think seriously how to implement the new policy, because it has got many qualities. It talks about that the personality, it must be holistic personality. It is just not only one or two, and then in the past we used to say, this is curricular, this is co-curricular, this is extracurricular. But new education policy says holistic, and this is what the SDG goal 4, that's the world over, it also talks about inclusive, equity, and quality education. So again, I think that, again, whatever we have been talking about, whatever we have been saying that these are the weak points, these are the minuses of our education policy, but I think that it has to, from the both sides, that let us be responsible and let us understand our role. And once we understand our role, because teacher means it is role play. Teacher means that something is a learned person, knows everything. That was the reason that why I was feeling humbled that when ma'am said now academician and might be knowing much more. Probably that is increasing the expectations of the audience. I was thinking, no, probably I might not be knowing many things. And it is only, yes, something over a period of now more than 35 years in this sector, that we are just trying to learn daily basis. And the problem is that whatever we learn, then we are told unlearn and relearn. That is probably the challenge for all of us. Today, the teacher's role is the most tough job, is the most difficult job. At the same time, it's a noble profession. Because normally we always say that whenever my child, my student, he or she gets a promotion, the teacher probably is the most happy person after the parents, who would say, my student has become IAS, my student has become a doctor, my student is so-and-so. That just look at the ownership of it's my student. Probably the asset of the teacher always appreciates. Because a student, today, he's a junior engineer, tomorrow he would become chief engineer, CEO, that's the appreciation. And that is, I think, the beauty. That's how we say teacher is the most rich person. And that's the respect teacher must get. Probably that is what, through the new education policy, that teacher must get the place where he or she deserves. It is not that it's the last option. If you are not getting any other post, any other employment, they become a teacher. No ways. I think that, again, this is a perception made by our society. Otherwise, just look at, these are the teachers who made engineers, who make the doctors, who make the judges. Everybody is made by whom? Ma'am sitting here, lawyers, was trained by whom? All professors sitting here are trained by whom? So I think that this is the respect they really deserve, because this is the training and the dedication and the learning which we have received. Sometimes I say, even after 35 years, if I get a call from my professor, my old professor, I will automatically stand up. He's not before me. It is out of respect. It's out of value system, because the Indian value system. We are taught from the day one that Guru, and Guru is most respected person, and even if there is a God and there is a Guru, to whom you should first say yes, salute, it is the Guru. So also in the Granths, in our various other sacred places, it is mentioned like that. I think that this is, again, we need to restore this. That the position, the place where teachers deserve. Teachers are the real gurus. They are this makers of the future generations, and thus our future India. So I think that this is what is really very, very important. And now, what we need to take care of, that what kind of children, once we get the children in our hands, what is the transformation there should be? Then we need to just teach the student, just not only, as I mentioned, just not only some numeracy or some alphabets or some other, unko bolo, just cram, not like that. Rather, we need to adopt the pedagogy which really becomes a permanent learning for the student. That is by maybe case studies, so small, maybe assignments, maybe inquiry-based, maybe discussions. I have got some experience of visiting some other countries. I have seen teachers and some group of students in the certain museums. They were showing practically that how to do, what to do, and what it's all about. It is not by imagination, by abstract. A stands for this thing or not way. So it is, I think, that very important for us that if we change our methodology, our pedagogy, and we relate things, and we tell the students that what is relevant for them. Relevant, very, very important. And also we need to, of course, the compassion and the empathy, especially after pandemic, because first IT, second is we are talking about SDG or the sustainability or the planet goals, which is really very, very important for the entire world. And third is that sometimes pandemic things happened. Nobody could predict that. All strategists failed. Just look at, as Professor Pradhanji was mentioning, that could not believe that life can come to such a standstill. Unimaginable. So when such things happens, then we understand the value of our own people, our own relationships, our own family. Again, compassion, empathy, that is what the human being, and we should be ready for collaborations. Because these days, it is not a world of competition. It is a world of collaboration. Let us collaborate and let us get strengths of each other and let us work that how we can get more and more synergy. So I think that this is really very important in today's life. And again, I have just mentioned 3 factors today. Maybe after a few days, there might be something else which we might not have predicted. But we need to make the student, it is just not IQ or EQ these days, rather social quotient, resilient quotient. How a student is resilient, how a student is socially adaptable and can sustain various such risks or such threats which are life-threatening. During COVID, especially COVID-2, we have seen that what was happening. So I think that this is really very, very important, and it is a very, very important day because this day's celebration is done. It is just to see whether we have been able to achieve the targets, vision, mission of the organization. Second, just to reassure that yes, whatever we have been doing in last 61-year journey, it is good, we'll continue that. And also reaffirm, it is just like to again say, we'll stand committed to the vision, mission of this organization. That is probably the day of celebration. It is just not only September 1st celebration, rather to take a pledge that yes, the role which we have been given, let us take it to the next level and let us stand committed. So with these words, thank you very much. I once again would say thank you so much for inviting me here. My special thanks. And I will learn so much today from the speakers and also from the audience, that the positive vibes and the simplicity, and also that I could see the first time the NERIE, because otherwise for last 3.5 years I'm in Shillong, but I never happened to be, because nobody probably told me about this, that this is such a great institution. Normally it is seeing is the believing. So I think that today, after this, NERIE becomes for me one of the important institution of course, it's a great institution, and I was mentioning that it is a bigger brand than other institutions as well, because your impact, your scope is much larger, and your role is much larger. So thank you very much, and once again, wish you a very happy Foundation Day. Thank you very much.